veil was rent in two or in twain from top to bottom. So 30 feet just ripped, torn, or as a great giant sword, if you will, slashed it from top to bottom. Now, who did that? God did that. God parted the veil. God rent the veil. While the priests here are offering the evening sacrifice, Mark tells us that Jesus was offering himself on the cross as the sacrifice for all mankind. And when you look at that, the veil was split from top to bottom. No man can do that. No man can do that. Only God can rend it. The same is true for salvation. No man can tear the veil. No man can enter in. Only Jesus. You ever wondered why Jesus was beaten? You ever stop and think like, oh, I do that all the time. Why couldn't he just die quick? You know, been a simple death. Why did he have to go? Why does the Bible prophesy that he was marred more than any man? I tell people over and over, let this sink in. That means there was not a person beaten more than Jesus. There was not a person that suffered more than Jesus. He says he didn't even look like a man. He didn't even look like a human being anymore. And the veil was rent in two. And I want you to understand that Jesus Christ's flesh was ripped from his head to his feet. His flesh was just ripped apart just like the veil was. That's Hebrews 9. That's the rending of the veil. So what is that message? The message here is Hebrews 10:20, by a new and living way, which he hath consecrated for us through the veil, that is to say, his flesh. The veil represents Jesus as the way. It represents Jesus as the only way. It represents Jesus as all the way. And it represents there is no other way. That's what the veil represents. The veil rent from top to bottom also pictures this. And I see so many people, well, Jesus just provided a starting point. You got fish going on. Jesus didn't start to tear in the veil. He didn't just start it, tear your foot, say, hey, you work on it the rest of your life and see if you can get all it. No, he ripped it from top to bottom. Providing what? Access for everyone who would come to him through faith. Now this rent veil means that whosoever will. Now, when you get over to the New Testament, what do you begin to see? Whosoever will. For all who call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Whosoever will come to him. Why? Because he's rended the veil. His veil has been torn. His veil has been rended. Would you come to Jesus? Would you look to that rent veil? Would you look to his tortured body? Would you look that he was ripped to pieces so that he could provide you the one and only way to the Father? There is none, there is no other, and Jesus is the glory of God. As we stand this morning, when the high priest entered behind that veil, he came into the very presence of God himself. He offered the blood, and then he had to leave.